Hi guys, welcome back to my channel, and today we'll be talking about the question merge two sorted linked lists on Hackerrank, and this is what the question looks like. Here we've been given an example, and this is the final new list after merging the two. Now let's move on to the explanation of this code. Suppose this is our first linked list, that is 1, 5 and 8, and this is our second linked list, that is 2, 4, 9 and 11. Both of them are sorted, and this is what the final merged linked list should look like. Now for this to happen, we will take 3 pointers and x, y and z, and x will have the address same as that in head 1, y will have address same as that in head 2, and z we will discuss later in the video. There is also another pointer called head, which is initially null, and this is the pointer which will be returning at the end of the code. This is the head of the final merged linked list. So now this is what the first linked list looks like, 1, 5 and 8. This is our x, it has the same address as head 1, and this is the second linked list, and y has the same address as head 2. So now if the data of x is less than the data of y, we can say z equals to x, and x is next of z, which means so z here is the first node of the merged linked list. So since it is the first node, it will be the least of all. So if the data in x is lesser than y, z equals to x, and in the else condition we see that if the data of y is lesser than the data of x, then in that case z equals to y, and after z equals to x or z equals to y, we move one step forward, that is x equals to the next of z or y equals to the next of z. Now after this, once all our pointers are in place, that is x, y and z, we can say head, which is our head of the final linked list, that equals z. Now let's move on to the next section of the code, that is while loop. While x and y, that is while x and y are not equal to null, we have our if else condition, that is if the data of x is less than the data of y, the next of z will be equal to x, z equals to x, and x equals to next of z. So this here means that suppose we have our z here, and if the data of x is lesser, then the next of z equals x. So this means forming this link over here, and we will be having our x here. Once we have made this link, we will move one step forward, that is z equals to x, and x will be next of z, as you can see. Now similarly in the else condition, that is if the data of y is less than the data of x, we will say that suppose this is a z, and we will now form our link with y because y is lesser. So we get our y here, and then z equals to y, and y is next of z, that is moving one step forward. So z equals to y and y is next of z. Now we have our two if conditions here. Now these are applicable when the length of the two linked lists is not equal. So if x equals null, so in that case the next of z should be equal to y, that is if x approaches null first, that means that that linked list is over, and now the only option we are left with is the second linked list. And if y equals null, that is if the second linked list is over, then our only option will be to choose nodes from the first linked list. So, and finally, once all of this is done, we will return the head as I mentioned earlier. Now let's move on to coding this solution. So let's now code the solution for this problem. So if head 1 equals null, return head 2, and if head 2 equals null, return head 1. Now we'll be making our pointers as we discussed. Now x equals head 1, y equals head 2, and there's one more pointer, head equals null. Initially, this head is pointing to null. Now we have our if else condition. If the data in x is less than or equal to data of y, uh, 1 second. Yeah, so in that case, z equals x and x equals to z of next of z, else z equals y and y equals next of z. Now after we have our pointers in place, and the z has been assigned the value, we can say head equals z so that we can manipulate the value of z later in the code, while x and y are not null. We'll be running the following code, that is, if the data in x is less than or equal to the data in y, in that case the next of z equals x, z equals x, and x equals to next of z. The As you can see, these last two steps are for x and z to move one step forward. Now else next of z equals y, z equals y, and y equals to next of z. Now once out of the while loop, we have our two if conditions, that is if the two linked lists are not equal in length. So if x equals null, the next of z will be y, and if y equals null, next of z will be x. And finally, once this is done, we will return head, that is head of the final merged linked list. So now let's run the code. Okay, and now let's process it. Let's submit the code. So since all the test cases have passed, uh, thank you for watching this video and I hope this helped you. Thank you.